Hello and welcome everyone, it's Capcan here, and we are having our Balanced Druid talent tree completely reworked by Blizzard. It's 29th of September 2022, and yeah, I've recorded video on the old Moonkin talent tree just yesterday. They've redone it, which means that my old video is now gonna be unlisted because it's all fake news, and we're gonna look at our talent tree currently in the game. But what do we have here? It's currently not still not in the game. It is up on the WoW head, which means that we're gonna head to the WoW head, of course, and here it is. So if you want to compare it, then you can do just direct comparison here. So that's what we had. Like it doesn't really look that wide, even though last parts of the tree was pretty interesting and stuff like that. And here, what do we have now? That's our, like, and I don't really think that they're gonna rework or change it completely anymore, because they've spent quite a lot of time doing this part, this reworked part, and they've told us that they are finished iterating on reworking these talent trees and stuff like that, and they want to balance the things because we're closer and closer to the release of the add-on itself, which means that probably this thing here is gonna be somewhat final. Of course, there's gonna be balance changes, maybe some little tweaks, to maybe not little tweaks, I don't know. Community still haven't provided its feedback on the new iteration of tree, but at least it does look on par with other talent trees from other classes. And yeah, it definitely, at least even from the shape point of view, it looks way more on like par with everything else. So let's start and read everything here. So that's Eclipse. Casting 2-star fire empowers Wrath for... wait a second, I need to check. Yep, I'm on the right page. So Eclipse, casting 2-star fire empowers Wrath for 15 seconds. Casting 2 Wrath empowers Starfire for 15 seconds. Eclipse Solar is nature spells deal 15% additional damage, and wrath damage is increased by 20%, and Eclipse Lunar is arcane spells deal 15% additional damage, and Starfire critical strike chance is increased by 20%. So that's our baseline eclipses, all the stuff that we've had already. So shooting stars, they were somewhere around here in previous talent tree, in previous like iteration of talent tree, and now they're up here, which means that yeah, you can get these procs way sooner. So Moonfire, Sunfire, and Stellar Flare, which are dots, which are there, yeah, there are dots. Damage over time has a chance to call down a falling star, dealing pretty good spell power astral damage and generating 3 astral power. So that's like procs for our dots, and it's very cool that it is far more sooner, which means that they're probably gonna do a little bit more with it. Then second talent is a Warrior Felloon, instant 45 seconds cooldown. Your next 3 Starfires are instant cast and generate 40% increased astral power. We've had it as well, and we've had it way deeper as well. Pretty good cooldown for you to ramp up your burst damage, for you to generate some astral power from the get-go. Pretty low cooldown as well, which is great. Then we have our Starfall, which I guess was way deeper as well. Wait a second, I'm gonna check. Now, Starfall wasn't really that deep. It was on the fourth row. Yeah, row. So yeah, Starfall, our main AoE ability, 50 astral power, calls down waves of falling stars upon enemies within 40 yards, deals astral damage over 8 seconds. Multiple uses of this ability may overlap. So for now, it's all standard stuff, just mixed up in their positions. Now, what do we have here on the? I guess we'll go. We'll go and check the first like part, and then we'll go section by section. So solstice. During the first 6 seconds of every eclipse, shooting stars fall 100% more often. We've had that as well, and it was somewhere around here, which means like yeah, it's very good that you're having some interesting procs from the start, even like from the leveling standpoint. You're gonna be interested maybe a little bit more, like you have something going around with your skills and your dots, which is okay. So Yeah, Solstice, additional shooting stars from your dots. Then Umbral Intensity. Eclipse's damage bonus to Wrath and Starfire is 10% stronger, which is clearly single target oriented. And again, it's just replaced talent from the unreworked talent tree from the past iteration. Yeah, gonna say it like that. And Stellar Flare or Twin Moon. So Stellar Flare, 1.5 seconds cast time, burns the target for a little bit of spell power, then deals pretty good amount of spell power damage over 24 seconds, so additional dot. Or Twin Moons. Moonfire deals 10% increased damage and also hits another nearby enemy within 15 yards of the target. So Twin Moons are more for you to AoE, yes, to simplify your way of stacking Moonfire on big masses of enemies, and Stellar Flare is clearly a single target additional dot that's gonna generate you astral power, and it procs, yes, and it additionally procs shooting stars, which means, yeah, so here is clearly a choice between AoE or single target oriented, and this choice was way deeper in the talent tree as well. Then let's go, what do we have going from this Starfall downwards? Umbral Embrace. Dealing astral damage has a chance to cause your next Wrath or Starfire to become astral and deal 50% additional damage. Approximately 3 procs per minute, and it doesn't change with second proc, but still it's gonna, like, if it's gonna proc every 20 seconds, yeah, approximately, and your Wrath or Starfire become, I guess they're converting their damage, become astral, so yeah, they will deal like arcane damage or astral damage. Oh, just astral damage. So that's additional type. And deal additional damage. So I guess just additional single target procs with damage for additional single target hits. Or wait a second, Starfire is not really only single target. So yeah, that's quite interesting. That wasn't, if I recall, but yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that's something new. Aetherial Kindling. Casting Starfall extends the duration of active Moonfires and Sunfires by 2 and then 4 seconds. Yes, and this thing is very, very cool. It helps you with uptime of your debuffs on AoE in packs of mobs. Definitely M+ talent in mind. And we have our Lunar Shrapnel. Starfall stars deal an additional 25% damage to nearby enemies when they damage an enemy afflicted by Moonfire. So it's supposed to you, the game supposes that you're gonna cast your Moonfires, maybe with this talent to cast them faster on the pack. Then you're gonna hit everyone with Starfall, and Starfall is gonna cleave every little Starfall. Every little star that falls is gonna do a little bit of AoE damage on the targets afflicted by Moonfire, which is quite cool, and that wasn't the case in the previous iteration as well. Now Force of Nature, and I don't, as you can see, we don't have our talent that was given us, that gives us like 50 astral power while we are not in combat, and not 0, and that was accelerating our astral power gains passively throughout the combat. It was in first talent rows, and it was near the Force of Nature, where you could have picked both which you can't really do now because it's the choice that you need to make either that or this. So Force of Nature summons a stand of 3 trends for 10 seconds, which immediately taunt and attack enemies in the targeted area, generates 20 astral power, 1 minute cooldown. Our pretty good talent for your solo missions, solo activities, can be used in I guess in some other places. but you need to test the damage of it. So, and of course, our solar beam summons a beam of solar light over an enemy target's location, interrupting the target and silencing all enemies within the beam. It lasts 8 seconds, instant, 1 minute cooldown. Pretty good interrupt. AoE silence works pretty well in M+, so in PvP. May have uses in like raids as well. So now let's go with the right part of the tree and look what do we have here. Oh, every 20th shooting star calls down a full moon at 80% power upon its target. Again, these 3 talents were starting here and went down here. So it's like very interesting that they are so early around and you can pick them and then pick something else as well, which is quite cool. So waning twilight. When you have 3 periodic effects on a target, your damage and healing on them are increased by 4 and then probably 8%. Yes. Okay, so that's definitely, that's more of a single target stuff. But maybe you can like pull it out with AoEs, but yeah, it's mostly single target. Astral Communion generates 75 astral power and 1 minute cooldown. So just you're gaining pretty like big amount of your resource in order to burst down the target, which is quite cool. And there wasn't talent like this before. It looks a little bit like even like too simple from the words on the skill, like generate 75 astral power. Looks like something kind of a yeah, interesting. So very, very, very simple explanation of the skill. Nature's Grace. After an eclipse ends, you gain 15% haste for 6 seconds. So just every eclipse endings, you're gonna get some haste, which is just good passive damage, I guess. Okay, let's go with Center. Stellar Inspiration. Star Surge has a 10% chance to apply Stellar Flare to the target. Wait a second, Stellar Flare. Okay, wait a second. Star Surge, but you can take Twin Moons and you will still be able to apply Stellar Flare to the target with Star Surge. Starfall has a 15% chance to extend Moonfire and Sunfire by 4 seconds again. It's quite interesting. If you're gonna take Stellar Flare here, then and you want your like single target oriented talent tree, then probably you don't really gonna use this talent because you're not gonna use your Starfall on single target and Star Surge you're like already have your Stellar Flare up on the target. But yeah, I guess you don't really want to take Stellar Flare here. So if you're going with single target in mind, you're just not taking this talent at all. And if you're going with AoE in mind, then you're taking Twin Moons and taking Stellar Inspiration, which means that your Starfall is upgraded. You still can apply Stellar Flare to the targets with your Star Surge in M+, for example. So you're just like, yeah, it just can proc. And you have increased AoE Moonfire generation. Quite interesting. Okay. Light of the Sun reduces the remaining cooldown on solar beam by 15 seconds when it interrupts the primary target. Okay, that was the case previously as well. So you're downing your cooldown up to 45 seconds instead of 1 minute. On your AoE silence, Nature's Balance. While in combat, you generate 1 astral power every 2 seconds. While out of combat, your astral power rebalances to 50 instead of depleting to empty. Okay, so this talent It's very good that it is not very deep. You can take it pretty fast. For me, it is crucial for leveling. It is crucial for leveling and for your single target activity, single player activities, because like, yeah, when you're starting the combat with 0 astral power, it sucks. And when you can Star Surge just from the get-go, it's very cool, and yeah, I like it. So it's good that we have Force of Nature near the nature's balance, and we don't have to do the choice between them. Now let's go with Celestial Alignment. Celestial bodies align, maintaining both eclipses and granting 10% haste for 20 seconds. Okay, so that's one of our cooldowns as well. 3 minutes cooldown. Yeah, so that's quite... It was even somewhere near this place before, so nothing really changed here. Choose one. Rattle the stars. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I know something's wrong with it. I'm very sorry. And I'm probably not gonna montage it off the video. So choose one. Rattle the stars. Star Surge and Starfall reduce the cost of Star Surge and Starfall by 10% and increase their damage by 10% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. Yeah, so... we've currently had that, as well as Star Weaver. Star Surge has a 20% chance to make Starfall free. Starfall has a 30% chance to make Star Surge free. So yeah, like Star Weaver is a little bit weird when you want to swap between your single target and AoEs, and you like want to use that and that. It's harder for me to imagine situations where that can be useful, but free Star Surge and Starfall is good either way, because they're free and you don't have to spend your resource on like free bursty ability. But then reduce cost and increase the damage by 20% approximately when you use them. It's gonna be way more sustained, but it's not like you're having shit for free. So yeah, you'll just need to test it out. You need to look at how often does that proc, how much damage do you have this thing on prolonged fight, on fast fights, and stuff like that. But interesting choosing of talents anyway. Star-Lord. Star Surge and Starfall grant you 2% haste for 15 seconds and then 4% haste for 15 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. Again, and stack does not refresh. So yeah, that's like just a passive haste increase for you. For the long fights, it's gonna be very, very useful, because it's probably gonna be up all the time. Mostly, yeah. You're like anyway. You're spending your stuff on that. Maybe not as much as M+, because specs are gonna die pretty fast, and you're not gonna have that useful uptime of the passive, but still it may be good as well. I'm not saying that it will be bad. I'm saying that in raids it will 100% be like better and more sustainable. Okay, now choose one. Syzygy. Oh, am I jumping here? Am I going here? I've jumped already like a couple of times. So okay, let's go with my wild mushrooms. 3 charges, instant 30 seconds recharge. Grow a magical mushroom at the target enemy location. After 2 seconds, the mushroom detonates, dealing nature damage and generating up to 20 astral power based on target hit. So there was no mushrooms before in the talent tree from the previous iteration, and that's very, very cool that we have our mushrooms back. 3 charges, 30 seconds recharge. Oh man, 3 charges and recharge. It reminds me of Tima so hard from League of Legends, and it's just like it's this skill from the past with your shroomies that was like poisoning the enemies, which is quite cool. And I guess for balanced druids, it's just a cute ability to have, and probably yeah, people are gonna like it. I guess. Soul of the Forest. Eclipse increases Wrath's astral power generation 50% and increases Starfire area effect damage by 150%, which is quite good. It's quite massive. You're having additional AoE damage with Starfire. You have additional like resource generation with Wrath. I don't really see any situation where you wouldn't really take this talent if you're going somewhere around near it. Yeah, it's very good. So then again, Suzuki. A celestial alignment blasts all enemies in a targeted area for 200 spell power, astral damage, and applies stellar flare to them. So, but it has 3 minutes cooldown. It's such a big cooldown, man. So celestial alignment gives you eclipses and haste, which is quite powerful, and it's 3 minutes cooldown, which is quite big. And Celestial Alignment blasts all enemies means that it's very good bursty AoE like talent. But the problem with that is that it's on 3 minutes cooldown. It applies Sterile Flame to them, which means that it even harder like boosts your damage. But it's so it's so unsustained. It's so like here you have your burst and then for 3 minutes you don't have shit. And with Primordial Arcanic Pulsar, which every 300 astral power spent grants Celestial Alignment for 12 seconds, when the baseline is 20 seconds. Man, every like 300 astral power is gonna be way better than every 3 minutes. So Suzuki is very cool stylistically, and it's gonna give you burst, which means that you probably take it in PvP. But Primordial Arcane Pulsar is just like you're having uptime on one of your hardest buffs for damage. You're having like very good uptime with that on prolonged fights, and on not only prolonged fights. I guess it's just like, so if you've killed one pack of mobs in M+, you've like spent 150 astral power. You're starting the next pack and you already need only 150 astral power for your celestial alignment to be up on you again. So like, man, I just don't see any situations where you wouldn't take. Maybe it's me again. I'm not the biggest specialist on all this stuff, but for me it looks like kind of obvious. Okay, let's go with something deeper now. Probably let's go with this part first. So yeah, the tree itself definitely is more varied now, so especially first parts of it, they're looking way better, and they're looking just like you have things that you want, or you want them all, but you can like tailor it to this different situations, and it's not as obvious as it was previously. In my opinion. Then Circle of Life and Death. Your damage over time effects deal their damage in 25% less time, and your healing over time effects in 15% less time. So yeah, we've had that thing previously. It looks, for me at least, as more of a single target stuff, because you don't really want your dots to be applied faster in the AoE, because you need to reapply them then again. But it's just, of course it's damage increase anyways. Yeah, but in like AoE scenarios, it has some downsides to it, while in single target probably not as much. Denizen of the Dream. Your Moonfire and Sunfire have a chance to summon a fairy dragon to assist you in battle for 30 seconds. Cool, very cool. Approximately 2 procs per minute, so like every 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds for 30 seconds. Maybe there's some weird like time stuff here, because 2 procs per minute, 30 seconds duration is that mean? Why won't you just give us a pet then, like for 100% uptime? But have a chance to summon. Yeah, but still approximately 2 procs per minute. I don't know. Looks pretty cool. You're getting a fairy dragon companion if you want to. You're not obliged to. So yeah, Friend of the Fae. When a fairy dragon is summoned, Your arcane and nature damage is increased by 6% for 30 seconds. So again, 30 seconds uptime, which means that it's just like, it's gonna be forever with you. I don't know. So just like 6% damage increase, okay. But not astral damage, only arcane and nature damage, which is still quite good. But it's just passive power increase. What can you say about it? It's gonna be handy anyways. Maybe not as much on AoE though, because astral damage. Yeah. Sundered Firmament. Every other eclipse creates a Fury of Elune at 25% effectiveness that follows your current target for 8 seconds. Okay, every other eclipse creates a Fury of Elune, 25% effectiveness. Do we have a Fury of Elune? Oh yeah, so here it is. Fury of Elune. Instant 1 minute cooldown, calls down a beam of pure celestial energy that follows the enemy, dealing astral damage over 8 seconds within its area. Damage reduced on secondary targets, generates astral power. Oh yeah, so that's like the beam that follows enemies. Alright, and you have a chance to just randomly proc it and get with you. Okay, that's quite good. It's like, okay. Astral Smolder. Your critical strikes from Starfire and Wrath cause the target to languish for an additional 4% of your spell's damage for 4 seconds. So that's if you're critting. That's if you're crit oriented and yeah, you're dealing additional Starfire and Wrath. More of a single target as well, I guess. Okay. Then we have our center part. Choose one. Either Incarnation, Chosen of Elune, an improved Moonkin form that grants both eclipses, any learned celestial alignment bonuses, and 10% critical strike chance. Last 30 seconds you may shapeshift in and out of the improved Moonkin form for its duration. Yeah, so either Chosen of Elune, which was previously, or Convoke the Spirits. It's our Night Fae Covenant ability. Call upon the Night Fae for an eruption of energy, channeling a rapid flurry of 16 Druid spells and abilities over 4 seconds. You will cast Wild Growth, Swift Mend, in our case more of a Moonfire, Wrath, Regrowth, Rejuvenation, Rake, and Trash on appropriate nearby targets, favoring your current shapeshift form. Okay, so it's gonna be very hard not to take the Convoke the Spirits. But still, yeah, like Incarnation, Chosen of Elune looks pretty cool as well. Even just stylistically, like then we have Elune's Guidance, which update increases power of our and alternates them a bit of these spells themselves. So Incarnation Chosen of Elune reduces astral power cost of Star Surge by 10 and the astral power cost of Starfall by 15%. By 15. Wait a second, so so previously this talent was like if you shapeshift out of your Chosen of Elune upgraded Moonkin form, then you refund some part of its cooldown and you can use it like faster and stuff like that. It was something like that, and now it's just even stronger cooldown with like yeah, with we don't have as the cooldown of the cooldown. Convoke the Spirits. Cooldown is reduced by 50% and its duration and number of spells cast is reduced by 25%. Cooldown is reduced. Okay, so it's instead of 2 minutes, it's gonna be 1 minute. And number of spells cast is reduced by 25%. So instead of 16, it's gonna be 12. Which is quite sad, but like, yeah, more uptime still though. Convoke the Spirits has an increased chance to use an exceptional spell or ability, but you can have better abilities casted. Well, Convoke the Spirits with 1 minute's cooldown is very, very cool. And it's like, it becomes part of your rotation, which is like, it's fun. The main thing that it's fun. Balance of all. Okay, let's go with Power of Goldrin first. Star Search has a chance to summon the Spirit of Goldrin, which immediately deals arcane damage to the target. Proc chance 33%. So, yeah, just additional single target procs. Damage of. And use summoning the Spirit of Goldrin. Quite interesting as well. So, yeah, I like stylistically what they're doing here. Or Fungal Growth. Enemies struck by wild mushrooms are damaged for an additional 70% over 8 seconds and slowed by 50%. Holy crap, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage for AoE. So 100% Power of Goldrin is more of a single target, and Fungal Growth is very good on in like AoE. Magical mushroom at the target. After 2 seconds, the mushroom detonates. Wait a second. It doesn't says here if it detonates and deals damage to only enemy or to all enemies around. And on that, it's gonna like, yeah, it's gonna be. There's gonna be a difference if it's not an AoE cooldown. And by the damage of it, I don't really think that it's gonna be an AoE cooldown, which makes me quite sad. Which makes my comment on Fungal Growth a little bit more, yeah, it's something else that I'm thinking here. Maybe we need to see it. Choose one. Fury of Elune, we've already saw it. It's like the stellar beam that follows your enemy and generates your astral power, 1 minute cooldown. Or New Moon, 1 second cast time, 20 seconds recharge, 3 charges, deals 100% of spell power astral damage to the target, and empowers New Moon to become Half Moon. Generates 10 astral power. So that's for you to quickly regenerate your eclipse, yeah, like from the down point to back to the half point, which is quite interesting as well. It's said that it deals single target damage. It has cast time. Interesting, definitely interesting. So Radiant Moonlight. Full moon becomes full moon once more before resetting to new moon. Okay. Fury of Elune's cooldown is reduced by 15%. So Fury of Elune is gonna be 45 seconds cooldown, and new moon, yeah, like, and Fury and your full moons are gonna be like twice as long. Man, they really made it all way more complicated, and what's sad is that they got rid of some active skills. Yeah, and I'm gonna show them in a little bit more of the time. So balance of all things. Entering Eclipse increases your critical strike chance with arcane or nature spells by 16%, decreasing by 2% every 1 second, and then it's gonna by going up by 24. So like second point in this talent is way worse than first point. Oh, but decreasing by 3%, and here was decreasing by 2%. So yeah, like second point is not really so hot. Our last talent, Stellar Innervation. During solar eclipse, Sunfire generates 100% additional astral power. During lunar eclipse, Moonfire generates 100% additional astral power. So just more resource generation. Now let's look a little bit at our previous at the previous stuff that we had in game. So we've had here so shooting stars, yeah, that we all had. It's nothing new. Circle of life and death. So yeah, they've taken away adaptive swarm. Commands a swarm that heals or deals damage to a target, and then it pops to another target after duration ends. Yeah, so like upon expiration finds a new target, preferring alternate. So this was if I'm not wrong, this was our Necrolord Covenant ability, or maybe not, but maybe yes. I haven't played Druids. Wait, I played Druids, but not really Necrolords, so I can't really remember. So it's kind of sad that we don't really have it anymore. And balance of all things we still have, but yeah, adaptive swarm was pretty cool, pretty interesting. Then incarnation and convoke we had still new moon and fury of Elune we still have, and Yeah, I guess. Oh, and we don't really have this thing with Blessing of Elune or Blessing of Anshe, where your solar eclipse is getting longer and lunar eclipse is shorter, or vice versa. And that's mostly it. Yeah, and that's mostly it. Every other active spells are still here, and we didn't really lose that much. Yeah, so that's definitely improvement over what it was before. That's like 100%. We have more choice. Everything's more divided. Everything's more like different and stuff. So yeah, I hope it's gonna be great, and I hope every Moonkin is gonna be very happy with its class. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you don't mind, and goodbye.